Chapter 3028. Previously, Jin Yuan had only attacked casually, but now, he was serious as he used the Void Severing Hand. The Void Severing Hand was said to be able to sever the void. Under the activation of the Origin Divine Force Factor, its power was extremely strong. It was not something that Jin Zhu or Jin Xing could compare to. Lu Ming's eyes turned solemn. Ancient God Body. Lu Ming immediately used the Ancient God Body and turned into a green-armored ancient god. He then stabbed his spear at Jin Yuan. Dong! It was as if two planets had collided. The void began to tremble like boiling water. Berserk energy surged out in all directions like a vast ocean, creating loud rumbling sounds. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing towards him along the long spear. He could not help but retreat. However, Jin Xing was not any better. His body also drifted back. Die! Jin Yuan retreated, stepped into the void, and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming roared and charged forward with his spear. The two of them fought fiercely. In terms of body size, Lu Ming was much bigger than Jin Yuan. However, Jin Yuan's strength was not any weaker than Lu Ming's. Boom! Boom! The two of them exchanged more than 10 blows, but there was no clear winner. Damn it! Why is this kid's divine force so strong? Jin Yuan roared in his heart. Both of them had awakened the Origin Divine Force Factor, but he was a half-step Divine King. On the other hand, Lu Ming was only a level 5 Heavenly God. Indeed, although Lu Ming had mastered many kinds of divine powers, only one of them had awakened the Origin Divine Power Factor. Moreover, his cultivation level was only at the 5th level Celestial God Realm. He could not compete with Jin Yuan with just one sovereign divine power. However, he had other divine forces, especially the Undying Sword Force, which had reached 99%. This made up for the gap between them. Moreover, the battle character's secret art had triggered 4 times his combat strength. That was why he could compete with Jin Yuan. Void Severing Sword. Slash. Jin Yuan roared. His glabella shone and a golden battle sword flew out, slashing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming had seen Jin Xing use this move before, so he wasn't surprised. He had already prepared for it. Dragon roars resounded as 10,000 meters long 9-clawed dragon condensed above Lu Ming's head. There were 7 of them in total, and they charged toward Gold Ingot. However, after the 7th 9-clawed dragon, 2 more 9-clawed dragons appeared, making a total of 9. After this period of cultivation, especially in the Myriad God Cliff where he fought against the figures formed by the divine power of Origin, Lu Ming's mystical dragon aspect art had made another breakthrough. He was now able to form 9 mystical dragon aspects at once. On top of that, the divine dragon aspect art was even more terrifying now that he had awakened the Sovereign Realm's Origin God Force. The 9 divine dragon dermas continued to attack Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan controlled the space-breaking sword to slash at the divine dragon dermas. Boom! Boom! Terrifying collisions continued to take place as the 9 9-clawed dragons clashed with the space-severing sword. Ice Chains. Immediately after, Lu Ming used the ice chains to attack Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan quickly used the space-severing hand to block, but Lu Ming held his spear and charged at Jin Yuan. Lu Ming used all his moves and forced Jin Yuan to retreat. Jin Yuan was at a disadvantage. The others were shocked. Was Jin Yuan going to lose today? This was a big deal. You want to defeat me? Impossible. Space-severing sword. 9 swords attack. Jin Yuan roared. His entire body suddenly emitted a dazzling light. The space between his eyebrows was like a small sun. Clang, clang, clang. A series of sword cries rang out as golden battle swords shot out from between Jin Yuan's eyebrows. There were 8 swords in total. Including the previous one, there were 9 swords in total. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The golden space-severing sword continuously slashed out. The sword light whistled, and its power was shocking. Lu Ming's expression changed. He continuously swung his spear to block the golden swords. Clang, clang, clang. The golden swords continuously slashed the spear. The spear vibrated violently, and the terrifying space-severing force flowed along the spear and spread to Lu Ming's body. Cracks appeared on the green scales on Lu Ming's body, and blood seeped out. Moreover, cracks appeared on the spear in Lu Ming's hand. What a shocking power! Lu Ming frowned. His spear was a superior level 9 divine artifact, but it could not block the power of his opponent. Kill! Jin Yuan roared. He controlled the space-severing sword and continued to slash at Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming in one go. Ice chain. Lu Ming controlled the ice chain to fly back and shroud himself. Clang! Clang! The space-severing sword slashed at the ice chain, producing a clang and sparks. However, the ice chain was not damaged at all. Only a few marks appeared on it. It's so hard. Jin Yuan's eyes narrowed. He was shocked. The space-severing sword was said to be able to sever the void, and its destructive power was astonishing. In addition, there were 8 swords attacking at the same time. Its power was even more terrifying, but it could not cut through Lu Ming's ice chain. I don't believe it. Slash, slash, slash. Jin Yuan roared. He controlled the space-severing sword and slashed at Lu Ming crazily. However, in the end, the ice chain blocked all the attacks. Although Lu Ming was pushed back by the powerful impact, Jin Yuan could not hurt him at all. In the end, Jin Yuan even used the space-severing hand, but it was useless. Lu Ming hid in the ice chain and found time to counterattack. He attacked Jin Yuan with spear radiance. Lu Ming, what's the point of hiding in there? Fight me if you dare. Jin Yuan roared. This is my secret skill, a defensive secret skill. Is it not considered strength? Ridiculous, Lu Ming said disdainfully. Jin Yuan gritted his teeth. He was speechless. Indeed, this was Lu Ming's secret skill. It did not rely on any treasure. Whether it was an offensive secret skill, a defensive secret skill, or a speed secret skill, they were all part of one strength. Humph, don't think that I can't break your defense. Jin Yuan's face was fierce. At this time, the 9 space-severing swords all flew back into Jin Yuan's body and merged with his body. The golden radiance on Jin Yuan's body became stronger. In the end, he turned into a golden battle sword and slashed at Lu Ming. Swoosh! The golden sword radiance illuminated the sky as if it was going to split the sky in half. The sword she whistled and was extremely terrifying. What a powerful force! Block it! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. This should be Jin Yuan's strongest attack. Lu Ming controlled the 9 ice chain with all his strength. His divine power flowed continuously into the ice chain. Boom! Finally, the battle sword formed by Jin Yuan slashed at the ice chain. The ice chain shook violently. Bang! Bang! In the next moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The ice chain broke one by one. After a few breaths, all 9 ice chain broke. Then, the golden sword radiance slashed at Lu Ming's body. However, Lu Ming's body was protected by the 9 layers of crimson gold armor. Even so, the 9 layers of crimson gold armor could not block the golden sword radiance. Chapter 3029. The golden battle sword struck the 9 layers of crimson gold armor. The 9 layers of crimson gold armor could not withstand the attack and was penetrated by the sword radiance. The sword radiance struck Lu Ming's body. Fortunately, the power of the sword radiance had been reduced by 90% after being blocked by the ice chains and the 9 layers of crimson gold armor. When it struck Lu Ming's body, only 10% of its power was left. Slash! A sword wound that was more than 10 meters long appeared on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming quickly retreated. However, the sword wound was only a superficial one. Lu Ming's injury was not serious. With his strong vitality, he recovered quickly. Not far away, Gold Ingot reappeared. His aura was a little weak. It was obvious that the move had consumed a lot of his energy. Ha ha ha, I've finally broken through your defense. Now, let's see what you're going to use to block my attack. Jin Yuan laughed. So what if it's broken? Idiot, this is a secret technique, not a treasure. Can't I reform it after it's broken? Lu Ming's indifferent voice was heard. Then, with a thought, the 9 ice chains flew out and surrounded him. You! Jin Yuan almost vomited blood. Now it's my turn. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. The aura on his body surged. Previously, He had let Gold Ingot attack because he wanted to see Gold Ingot's strongest killing move. He also wanted to test the defensive power of the ice chains. He had other means to fight against Jin Yuan. Third strike of extinction, star explosion, Lu Ming said in a low voice. Then, a huge spear radiance blasted toward Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan's face changed. He felt a fatal danger. Golden light shone from his body as a golden battle sword appeared on his body and covered his entire body. Hand of the Void, Jin Yuan shouted. He activated the Hand of the Void with all his might and slashed out. Boom! The golden palm struck the huge spear radiance. However, the moment the two collided, the spear radiance shattered like a star exploding. A terrifying destructive force swept toward Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan's body shook violently. He was sent flying by the powerful force. He flew for tens of thousands of meters before he could stabilize himself. At that moment, cracks had appeared on the golden battle sword on his body. Blood was constantly seeping out from the cracks. His hand was also trembling non-stop. Gold Ingot was injured by the Star Shatterer. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Jin Yuan stared at Lu Ming and roared furiously. His expression was extremely ferocious, like a wild beast that had gone mad. Jin Yuan's attack. Jin Yuan's Jin Yuan. An eye for an eye. Lu Ming's Lu Ming. You can only use this kind of ultimate move once at most. I don't believe that you can keep using it, Metal Origin said. Just like his previous move, although the power was extremely terrifying, the consumption of his body was also very shocking. After using that move, he had consumed a lot of his divine power. Is that so? Then open your eyes and watch. Star explosion. Lu Ming let out a long howl and his aura erupted. Another huge spear gleam charged toward Jin Yuan. Boom. The spear radiance exploded. The destructive force sent Jin Yuan flying again. This time, Jin Yuan was more seriously injured. More cracks appeared on his golden battle armor. Jin Yuan was about to roar, but Lu Ming attacked again. Another spear radiance rushed toward Jin Yuan. Indeed, the star explosion consumed a shocking amount of divine power. One move would drain all of Lu Ming's divine power. However, Lu Ming had the measure word formula. Why would he be afraid of being drained of divine power? As long as Lu Ming was free, he would inject divine power into the measure formula and store it. Therefore, Lu Ming's star explosion could be used continuously. How is this possible? Jin Yuan roared. He found it hard to accept. Then, he turned and ran. He was really scared. Lu Ming could use this kind of ultimate move continuously. Under the bombardment of such ultimate moves, if he did not run, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Swoosh! Jin Yuan turned into a golden radiance and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming didn't give chase. Jin Yuan was indeed very strong. Lu Ming had the upper hand by relying on the star explosion and the ice shackles. However, if Jin Yuan was determined to escape, he wouldn't be able to stop him. Lu Ming's gaze swept toward Jin Xing, Qin Wukong, and the rest. Jin Xing, Qin Wukong, and the rest's faces paled, without a trace of blood. They never thought that one of the four heroes of the Jin clan, Jin Yuan, who had awakened the origin divine power factor, wouldn't be a match for Lu Ming. They were almost scared to death when they saw Lu Ming's gaze. Go! Jin Xing roared. He turned and ran. Qin Wukong and the rest did the same. They didn't dare to stay. Did I give you permission to leave? Lu Ming said coldly. He executed the Nine Heavens Garuda technique and caught up with Jin Xing, Qin Wukong, and the rest in a few flashes. Kill. Lu Ming stabbed his spear at one of the Qin clan's prodigies. That Qin clan's prodigy was in the 9th level, Heavenly God Realm. He was terrified and attacked with all his might. However, he couldn't resist Lu Ming at all. Pooh! The long spear pierced through the Qin clan's prodigy's forehead and killed him. Anyway, Lu Ming had already killed the elites of the Jin family and the Qin family. The Jin family and the Qin family would definitely not let him off. It did not matter if he killed one or a few of them. Naturally, Lu Ming would not let them off. After killing the Qin clan's prodigy, Lu Ming's spear attacked Qin Wukong again. I'll fight you to the death, Qin Wukong roared. He circulated his divine force and injured himself to increase the power of the 7 injuries divine fist. He then punched out with all his might. A brilliant fist energy was sent towards Lu Ming. Sky-piercing, Lu Ming said indifferently. His spear shot out like a meteor. Boom. Lu Ming's long spear pierced through Qin Wukong's fist. The fist trembled slightly before it exploded. It couldn't stop Lu Ming's attack at all. Before Lu Ming's divine force had awakened, Qin Wukong could indeed fight against Lu Ming and exchange many blows with him. However, Lu Ming's sovereign divine force had awakened the divine force. Moreover, the undying sword force had awakened to 99%. His combat strength was a few times stronger than before. Naturally, he could crush Qin Wukong easily. No, Qin Wukong shouted in fear after his fist was destroyed by Lu Ming. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. Pooh! The long spear pierced through and nailed Qin Wukong in the air. No, no, no. Seeing this scene, Jin Xing roared crazily. He was almost scared to death. He used all his strength to escape. However, his speed couldn't be compared to Lu Ming's. Lu Ming caught up with Jin Xing in a few flashes. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. I'm one of the 4 prodigies of the Jin clan. If you kill me, the Jin clan won't let you off. Jin Xing roared. Now, he could only use his identity to threaten Lu Ming. Chapter 30. Jin family's 4 heroes? Heroes my ass. Lu Ming said coldly. Since he had already offended them, he didn't care who they were. Just kill them. Bam! The long spear swept down, and Jin Xing let out an unwilling scream. His body directly exploded, and both his body and soul were destroyed. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the storage rings of Jin Xing and the rest. Dead. Jin Xing is dead. Lu Ming is really fearless. This kind of person is the most terrifying. We'd better not offend him. Seeing Jin Xing and the rest being killed, many people kept quiet out of fear and looked at Lu Ming with fear. For the geniuses of the big families, Lu Ming was the most terrifying. He had no scruples at all. No matter who you were, if you offended him, you would be killed. Lu Ming glanced at the crowd nonchalantly. He then turned into a beam of light and left the place. Soon, Lu Ming was far away from Myriad Deity Cliff and landed on a mountain peak. Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to Autumn Moon. However, the result was the same. The message couldn't be sent out. Sigh. Lu Ming sighed and looked worried. I wonder if Wu Ming, and will you have any news about Autumn Moon? I should send a message. At this thought, Lu Ming sent another message to Wu Ming and the rest to ask about Autumn Moon. The message was sent out, but there was no response. Could it be that Wu Ming and the rest didn't receive the message because it's too far away? Lu Ming thought. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to travel while asking about Autumn Moon. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. On a flatland, a figure was moving around. He held a long spear in his hand and kept waving it. The long spear was like a divine dragon. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Streaks of spear light burst forth, leaving behind deep pits on the flat ground. Half a day later, the spear aura suddenly changed. The spear aura suddenly expanded, and a resplendent spear aura soared into the sky. It took a long time before it dissipated. I've finally broken through the 3 annihilating strikes, the figure whispered. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. A few months ago, when Lu Ming was traveling around this place, he had been cultivating the 3 strikes of annihilation. While he was comprehending the divine power at the Myriad Gods Cliff, Lu Ming had experienced intense battles in the starry sky. After that, he had fought with Qin Wukong, Jin Yuan, and the others. Lu Ming's comprehension of the 3 annihilating strikes had reached a limit. After this period of comprehension, he had finally broken through to the 8th stage of the Armageddon Triple Strike. Now that he had broken through to the 8th level of the Armageddon 3 strikes, regardless of whether it was the first move, Space Splitter, the second move, Moon Beheading, or the third move, Exploding Star, their power had all increased by a notch. Now, Lu Ming wouldn't have to fight so hard against Jin Yuan. Lu Ming adjusted his breath and took out a map to have a look. Lu Ming planned to explore another forbidden area to see if he could gain anything. After choosing the right direction, Lu Ming headed west. 2 days later, Lu Ming leaped across a long distance. Boom! Suddenly, a violent explosion came from the right in front of him. A divine power light soared into the sky. There were people fighting there. Lu Ming frowned. Just as he was considering whether to go over and take a look, he saw a few figures flying over quickly. Wu Ming, Wu Yu. Seeing these figures, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. These figures were actually Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and Wu Zixiang. But now, they were in an extremely sorry state. Their auras were weak, and their bodies were covered with wounds. Blood was flowing out. They were in a very sorry state. They flew forward with a frightened look on their faces, as if they were escaping from some terrible crisis. Lu Ming didn't hesitate and flew over. In the next moment, Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others also saw Lu Ming. After seeing Lu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others' expressions changed drastically. Lu Ming, don't come over. Go, go, go. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others shouted anxiously. But Lu Ming was unmoved. He continued to fly towards Wu Ming and the others. Since you've encountered me, you're too naive to think you can leave. Stay here. A cold voice came from behind Wu Ming and the others. Then, Lu Ming saw a chariot speeding over. The chariot was huge and dazzling. It wasn't made of ordinary gold. It was made of an extremely precious refining material. The chariot was covered by a curtain, and the situation inside could not be seen clearly. Pulling the chariot were two ferocious wild beasts with wide mouths and sharp fangs. They were roaring continuously. On both sides of the chariot, there were a young man and a young woman. They held long sabers in their arms and looked cold. But what caught Lu Ming's attention was that behind the chariot, there was a chain that was pulling a bunch of people. Yes, it was really a bunch of people. There were 12 of them, and all of them were young. However, all of them were severely injured. Their auras were weak, and they were chained up. Their faces were filled with despair. The supreme talents of the interstellar barracks. Lu Ming had some impression of the 12 people chained up. They were the supreme talents of the interstellar barracks. The chariot was extremely fast as it chased after Wu Yu and the others. Lu Ming, go. Wu Zixiang roared and stopped abruptly. He circulated his divine force and pushed out a palm. All of a sudden, war horses formed one after another and charged towards the war chariot like 10,000 galloping horses. Futile resistance. You're overestimating yourself. On the left side of the chariot, a young man with a saber said coldly. He took a step forward and unsheathed his saber. A terrifying saber radiance shone. Pong, pong, pong. As the saber radiance flashed, the war horses formed by Wu Zixiang were all shattered. The saber radiance did not stop as it slashed towards Wu Zixiang. Wu Zixiang groaned and retreated rapidly. Another wound had appeared on his body and blood was flowing out. Zixiang, are you all right? Wu Ming, Wu Yu and the others were shocked. They quickly stopped and helped Wu Zixiang up. If it wasn't for the fact that we wanted to leave some fresh ones, you would be dead. The young man with a saber said coldly. It seems like we won't be able to leave today. Wu Zixiang sighed. The young man with a saber was extremely powerful. Even at his peak, he was no match for him, let alone being injured. Moreover, there were still 3 people who had yet to make a move. The most shocking thing was that the person in the chariot was the real big shot. Whoosh! At this moment, Lu Ming's figure flashed, and he arrived beside Wu Zixiang and the others. Lu Ming, why aren't you leaving? Sigh, why aren't you leaving? Wu Ming sighed. He knows his place. He knows that he won't be able to leave. Hee hee. The young man with a saber sneered. What's going on? Lu Ming ignored the young man with a saber and asked Wu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, they're from the residence of the 9 Sabers, Heavenly King. Wu Ming said. Residence of the 9 Sabers, Heavenly King. Lu Ming was surprised. Before entering, Bai Li had told them that there were other sky prides from other Heavenly King's mansions who had entered Starry Crescent Ancient City. Including the 9 Sabers, Heavenly King's mansion, there were a total of 4 sky prides from the Heavenly King's mansions who had entered Starry Crescent Ancient City. They had not bumped into any of them previously. Now, they finally bumped into the people from other Heavenly King's mansions. Chapter 3031. Hee hee. Trash from 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. Surrender obediently, lest I take action. The young man sneered coldly. Don't even think about it. Even if we die, we won't fall into your hands. Wu Zixiong roared furiously with a resolute face. Roar! Roar! At that moment, the 2 desolate beasts that were pulling the chariot roared and emitted a strong, murderous aura. Cut the crap. The Li beasts are hungry. At that moment, a cold voice was heard from the war chariot. On both sides of the war chariot, the 4 young men and women heard the voice and their faces changed drastically. Please wait for a moment, young master. I will feed the Li beasts now. The young man with the saber nodded his head and bowed respectfully before walking to the back of the war chariot. No, no. I beg you. Spare me. Behind the war chariot, the young elites who were chained up screamed in horror. Some of them roared while others begged for mercy. Noisy. The 2 of you are the loudest. So annoying. Just the 2 of you. The young man with the saber extended his hand and a suction force burst out, forming a big hand that grabbed the 2 of them. Spare me. Spare me. No, I don't want to. The 2 young men screamed miserably and struggled frantically. However, these young men seemed to be severely injured and could not break free. The young man with the saber grabbed the 2 young men and returned to the front of the war chariot. With a swing of his hand, the 2 young men flew out. Roar, roar. The 2 desolate beasts roared and opened their bloody mouths. They swallowed the 2 young men and chewed them up. 2 miserable screams came out from the 2 desolate beasts' mouths. Then there was silence. Blood flowed out from the corners of the desolate beasts' mouths. The scene was horrifying. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the rest had ugly expressions. The remaining young men behind the war chariot were filled with despair. Boom! A cold aura burst out from Lu Ming's body, and it was filled with murderous intent. He finally knew why the young men were chained up behind the war chariot. It turned out that these young men were food for the 2 desolate beasts that were pulling the chariot, using the young elites to feed their own desolate beasts. Cruel. Extremely cruel. Even with Lu Ming's temperament, he could not help but reveal a strong murderous intent. Oh, such a strong murderous intent. You want to kill me? A mere 5th-level celestial god, overestimating himself. The young man sneered at Lu Ming, full of disdain. Stop talking nonsense. Take them down and find more food for my lead beast. Don't waste time. At this moment, the cold voice sounded from the war chariot again. Yes, young master, I will take them down immediately. The young man's complexion changed. He quickly bowed and saluted. Then, he looked coldly at Lu Ming and the others. Let's go, let's go. We'll split up and escape. If we can't escape, we'll self-destruct. We can't fall into their hands. Wu Zixiong roared. They would rather self-destruct and be smashed into pieces than fall into the hands of the saber-wielding young man. If they fell into the hands of the other party, their fates would be incomparably miserable. They would become food for the desolate beasts. You want to leave? Dream on. Heavenly saber cage. The young man snorted coldly. His aura erupted, and numerous resplendent beams condensed out of thin air. They were incomparably huge, and each of them was 10,000 meters long. They spread out in all directions and enveloped Lu Ming and the others. Crap! Wu Ming and the others were startled. Their path of retreat was blocked. They could not escape even if they wanted to. Self-destruct. Wu Ming sighed. His body emitted a powerful energy. He was going to self-destruct. However, at the next moment, a hand pressed down on Wu Ming's body, suppressing his boiling god force. Why are you self-destructing? Why don't you just kill these scum? A calm voice was heard. The person who spoke was none other than Lu Ming. Wu Zixiong, Wu Ming, and the others were startled. Kill them? The young man with the saber had attacked before. His cultivation was at the half-godly emperor realm, and his god force was quite awakened. His strength was outstanding too. Even Wu Zixiong at his peak was no match for him. The other 3 young men had yet to make a move, but their strength was not weak either. The existence on the war chariot was even more unpredictable. How were they going to kill him? It was like hitting a rock with an egg. Ha ha ha, what did I just hear? A fifth-layer heaven god said he's going to kill us. Did I hear it wrong? The saber-hugging young man laughed out loud. You didn't hear it wrong. He did say that. The other young man also spoke with a disdainful smile on his face. This kid is really stupid. Is the Nine Extinction Heavenly Emperor Palace full of trash like him? The young man with the saber glanced at Lu Ming and said with a mocking smile, Kid, seeing how stupid you are, I'll send you to the mythical beast first. Saying this, the young man with the saber took a step forward and grabbed at Lu Ming. A giant hand was formed, grabbing at Lu Ming. Shit. Lu Ming dodge. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others were astounded. Child's play, Lu Ming said calmly and took a step forward too. Roar. As Lu Ming took a step forward, a dragon's roar could be heard. Following this, a nine-clawed dragon appeared and lunged at the young man's giant hand. Bang! The nine-clawed divine dragon continued to stomp its claws and tore apart the giant hand that the other party had conjured. What? Not only did the young man with the saber take the scene out of his expectation, even Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others were stunned. Lu Ming was actually able to withstand the other party's attack? The young man with the saber was startled, before his eyes flickered with a strong murderous intent. Kid, so you do have some strength. No wonder you're so confident. However, your strength is nothing in front of me. I'll show you my true strength. The young man with the saber yelled. Meanwhile, a wild aura burst out from his body. That move earlier was just a casual blow from the young man. He had thought that it would be a piece of cake to deal with a fifth-level celestial god. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming's strength was beyond his imagination. He was getting serious now. Heavenly saber art, slash. The young man with the saber yelled. A terrifying saber glow was fired at Lu Ming. Roar, roar. Lu Ming waved his hand, summoning 9 nine-clawed dragons in total. They lunged at the young man. The 9 nine-clawed dragons collided with the saber glow. The saber glow shuddered violently before it shattered into pieces. Kid, you. The young man with the saber was astounded. He did not expect Lu Ming's strength to be this powerful. Before he could finish his sentence, the 9 godly dragons had already lunged at him. Heavenly saber art, slashing the world. The young man with the saber let out a roar. His saber glow soared into the sky as his aura grew stronger. At that instant, he had unleashed his full strength. He did not dare to conceal his strength. The man was indeed strong. He was stronger than Wu Zixiang when he unleashed his full strength. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than 10 saber glows slashed at Lu Ming. Chapter 30-32. The young man unleashed his full strength and his divine power burned like flames. He slashed at Lu Ming continuously, and each blade light seemed to be able to cut through the void with terrifying power. The blade light enveloped Lu Ming's body. Watch out! Wu Zixiang couldn't help but shout out a reminder. Previously, he was defeated by this move and was injured by this move. Roar! Roar! Dragon roars were heard and 9 nine-clawed dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Dragon chi soared into the sky, and their huge bodies twisted as they pounced at the young man. The 9-clawed dragon energy construct slammed its claws against the blade light of the young man. Boom! 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 Explosions were heard continuously. In the end, the blade light of the young man shook violently and collapsed. However, the divine dragon energy construct didn't stop and continued to charge at Chun Fan. How is this possible? The young man with the saber could not believe that he could not take down Lu Ming with his full force attack. Not only could he not take down Lu Ming, but his attack was also defeated by Lu Ming. Heavenly blade art, cleave the heavens. The saber-hugging young man roared as he mustered up his remaining strength and slashed out with his saber. After dozens of slashes, the young man finally blocked the attack of the 9-clawed dragon energy construct and defeated it. However, the young man also retreated a few thousand meters with a face full of disbelief. Origin Divine Force Factor. You've awakened the Origin Divine Force Factor. Impossible, impossible. How could you have awakened the Origin Divine Force Factor? The young man shouted crazily with a face full of disbelief. A level 5 heavenly god had awakened the origin divine force factor. What kind of monster was this? Not only him, the other 3 young men and women beside the chariot were also dumbfounded as they stared at Lu Ming with their mouths agape. During the exchange just now, Lu Ming's divine power had exuded an ancient aura. There was no mistaking it. He had definitely awakened the origin divine force factor. Wu Zixiang, Wu Ming, and Wu Yu were also tongue-tied. They were completely stunned and couldn't believe it. Lu Ming had actually awakened the origin divine force factor. They remembered clearly that when Lu Ming had just entered Xingyue Ancient City, his strength was far from what it was now. It was like heaven and earth. At that time, it was very dangerous for Lu Ming to be surrounded by the experts of the Qin clan. Lu Ming managed to escape in the end because of them. However, Lu Ming's cultivation had not only increased his cultivation level, but he had also awakened the origin divine force factor. His combat strength had also skyrocketed. This kind of improvement speed could only be described as abnormal. Boom! At that moment, a powerful aura burst forth from within the war chariot. Evidently, the existence within the war chariot was not calm at all. Interesting. A 5th level heavenly god who has awakened the origin divine force factor. I didn't expect the 9 extinction heavenly king residents to have such a person. The being in the war chariot sighed before its voice turned cold. Very well, such a prodigy is most suitable to feed my beast. Ha ha ha, the 3 of you. Attack together and kill him for me. No, cripple him first. Yes, master. Outside the war chariot, the other 3 received the order and unsheathed their sabers at the same time. In a flash, they surrounded Lu Ming, Wu Ming, and the rest. Meanwhile, the young man with a saber returned with a cold expression. Lu Ming had defeated him and embarrassed him in front of his master. Damn it, Lu Ming. Wu Ming and the others were startled once again. Although Lu Ming was able to defeat the young man with a saber, would he stand a chance against the 4 of them? Let's go. The young man with a saber roared furiously and attacked first. His saber pierced through the sky, aiming at Lu Ming. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The other 3 made their moves too. Their god force exploded as they executed terrifying slashes. The 3 of them were terrifyingly strong. All of them were half-step divine kings. Moreover, they had awakened 50% of their divine energy. No one knew who the person in the chariot was, but 4 of them were so respectful towards him. Saber gleams from all directions shrouded Lu Ming, Wu Ming, and Wu Yu. Obviously, the other party wanted to kill Wu Ming and Wu Yu together. Let's go. Wu Zixiang roared and prepared to fight back. They could not just sit and wait. Let me. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice was heard. At the same time, 9 ice chains flew out and surrounded Wu Ming and the others. Dong, dong. The saber light struck the ice chains continuously, but the ice chains did not budge and did not leave a mark. Now, it's my turn. Void piercing, void piercing. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. The long spear vibrated and thrust out continuously. Whoosh, whoosh. More than a dozen spear lights rushed towards the saber-hugging young man and the other 3. The 3rd strike of extinction, void piercing. With the support of Lu Ming's god force and the battle character secret art, this move was extremely powerful. The 4 slashed out their sabers continuously and clashed with Lu Ming's spear light. Only then did they manage to block Lu Ming's spear light. However, the 4 of them kept retreating. Moon slashing. After Lu Ming repelled the 4 young men, he stepped out and stared at the young man with the long spear, striking him with his long spear. A crescent-shaped spear light slashed towards the young man with the long spear. The power of this move was naturally above the void piercing. Heavenly Saber's secret art. The young man with the long spear roared and slashed out with his saber, which collided with the crescent-shaped spear light. A violent explosion sounded, and the young man with the long spear's saber light shattered. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and retreated. However, the 2 ice shackles shot towards him at an extremely fast speed. Get lost. The young man with the long spear roared and tried to break free from the ice chains. However, Lu Ming struck out with the moon slashing again. Hung. The young man with the long spear continued to spurt out blood as he retreated. The two ice chains took the opportunity to coil around the young man and then tighten. The young man with the long spear screamed as his bones broke and twisted like a fried dough twist. At the same time, a layer of frost chi froze him, preventing him from moving. All of this seemed to take a long time to describe, but in fact, it happened in an instant. Lu Ming repelled the four experts in one move and then captured the young man with the long spear. All of this happened in a breath's time. Don't you like to use other people's lives to feed your desolate beast? I wonder how it feels to use your life to feed it? Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. He controlled the ice chains and threw the young man towards a desolate beast that was pulling a war chariot. The young man with the long spear revealed a look of horror. He wanted to shout for help, but he was frozen by Lu Ming and could not make a sound. Roar. A ferocious, desolate beast saw someone flying towards it and roared. It opened its bloody mouth and bit down at the young man with the long spear. With a pff sound, the young man with the long spear was bitten into two. Following that, the desolate beast chewed a few times and completely ate the young man with the long spear. He had previously captured others to feed his desolate beast, but he ended up dying in the desolate beast's mouth. You are courting death. The remaining three young men roared with horror. Chapter 30-33. The remaining three young men roared, but their faces were filled with fear. They did not dare to continue attacking. Interesting. Really interesting. At this moment, a cold voice was heard from the war chariot. Then, the curtains fluttered and a young figure stepped out. It was a young man who looked like he was in his 20s. He was very handsome, but his eyes were narrow and sharp like a blade. When one looked into his eyes, it was as though one's body was being cut by the blade. Young Master Heavenly Mantis. The other three young men and women quickly bowed to the young man. The young man was called Young Master Heavenly Mantis. Why didn't you save him just now? Lu Ming asked casually. The him that Lu Ming mentioned was naturally the young man with the blade. From the distance just now, Young Master Heavenly Mantis had the chance to save him, but he was indifferent. What's the point of keeping a piece of trash alive? He can be used to feed my beast. Young Master Heavenly Mantis said indifferently. Roar, roar. As though they were cooperating with Young Master Heavenly Mantis, the two wild beasts roared and a ferocious aura spread out. The other three young men and women had ugly expressions, but they did not dare to make a sound. In Young Master Heavenly Mantis' eyes, their lives were not even comparable to the two wild beasts. Leave this kid to me. Take down the rest and make amends for your mistakes. Do you understand? Young Master Heavenly Mantis spoke again and glanced at the three of them. Yes. The three of them quickly nodded. Then, saber lights burst out and attacked Wu Ming and Wu Yu. However, with a thought from Lu Ming, 9 ice chains flew out and shrouded Wu Ming and Wu Yu. The saber gleams of the three young men slashed at the ice chains, but were all blocked by the ice chains. Kid, your opponent is me. At this moment, Young Master Heavenly Mantis shouted coldly. His palm was like a blade, and he slashed at Lu Ming. He used his palm as a blade, and the blade was shocking. He was much stronger than the young man with the blade. Get lost. Lu Ming roared. His body swelled rapidly. Lu Ming used the ancient god body and turned into a young ancient god that was a few hundred meters tall. Boom. The long spear swept upwards and bombarded Young Master Heavenly Mantis's blade light. A violent explosion erupted, causing Young Master Heavenly Mantis's blade light to vibrate continuously. Then, Young Master Heavenly Mantis's face changed, and he retreated rapidly. Kill. After pushing Young Master Tian Mantis back, Lu Ming suddenly turned around. With a jerk of his long spear, 3 spear lights shot out and attacked the other 3 young men and women. Lu Ming was now in the state of the ancient god body. The power of his attack was terrifying. The 3 youths could not withstand it at all. Puff, puff, puff. The 3 spear lights pierced through and blood splattered everywhere. The 3 young men were killed on the spot. You're courting death. After Young Master Heavenly Mantis stabilized himself, he saw the 3 young men and women being killed. He let out a furious roar, and a terrifying aura erupted from his body. A desolated ancient aura spread across the place. Origin Divine Power Factor. Young Master Heavenly Mantis was a peerless genius who had awakened the divine power origin. Moreover, his cultivation base was also at the half-step Divine King realm. At this moment, his eyes were extremely cold and a cold killing intent spread out from his body. He did not use his full strength in the previous attack. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful and have a trump card. Suddenly, Lu Ming used the ancient god body to push him back. Boom! Young Master Heavenly Mantis took a step forward and a saber light soared up to the sky. A vast aura pressed down on Lu Ming. It's more interesting now. Kill! Lu Ming shouted, and his battle intent soared. He raised his long spear and charged towards young Master Heavenly Mantis. A crescent-shaped spear light slashed down forcefully. Heavenly Saber Art. Young Master Heavenly Mantis also cultivated the Heavenly Saber Art. With a slash of his palm, a dazzling saber light slashed towards Lu Ming. He was much stronger than the other young men and women. Boom! Both of their attacks collided, creating a terrifying wave. The force was like a tidal wave that spread out in all directions. Both of their bodies shook slightly before they clashed again. Boom! Boom! It was a head-on battle. The saber light and spear light clashed continuously for more than 10 times. How can this kid be so strong? Young Master Heavenly Mantis was getting more and more fearful. He was a peerless genius of the 9 Sabers, Heavenly King residence. He had awakened his origin divine force when he was only a half-step Divine King. He was almost invincible under the Divine King realm. There were only a few who could fight against him. He had never dreamt that there would be a day where he could not even take down a level 5 heavenly god. Heavenly Mantis body transform. Young Master Heavenly Mantis shouted, and his body began to transform rapidly. In the end, he turned into a giant mantis that was over 100 meters tall. So it's a mantis. So ugly. Lu Ming curled his lips. The mantis that young Master Heavenly Mantis transformed into was not like the ancient god body. It was some kind of secret technique. It was young Master Heavenly Mantis' true body. Young Master Heavenly Mantis was some kind of divine mantis beast. It's your honor to see my true body. Die. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's cold voice sounded. With a stomp of his back legs, his body charged toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Then, he slashed at Lu Ming with his 2 front claws. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's 2 front claws were like 2 divine blades. They were extremely sharp. Lu Ming waved his spear and went up to meet the attack. Clang! Clang! After a few collisions, Lu Ming's body was pushed back a dozen steps. The spear in his hand vibrated continuously, and there were a few cracks on it. What sharp claws! Lu Ming exclaimed secretly. The other party's sharp claws were extremely sharp and harder than divine weapons. Even Lu Ming's 9th-level superior-grade divine weapon was chipped by it. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, back off. Back off further. At this moment, Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's speed was extremely fast. Lu Ming had to divert his attention to protect Wu Ming and the rest. It was difficult for him to perform at his best. All right, Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the rest naturally knew Lu Ming's situation. They quickly retreated. Young Master Heavenly Mantis casually glanced at Wu Ming and the rest but did not pursue them. In his opinion, Wu Ming and the rest were just small fries while Lu Ming was the big fish. As long as he killed Lu Ming, the rest would not be able to escape. Kill, kill, kill. Young Master Heavenly Mantis shouted coldly. He stomped on the ground and his body pounced at Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. His 2 front claws slashed out continuously. In an instant, he had slashed out hundreds of times. Come on. Lu Ming's battle intent was strong. The divine force in his body erupted. His spear shook as he executed the 3rd strike of extinction. He pushed the 3rd strike of extinction to the extreme, displaying the 8th level. Whoosh! Whoosh! Rays of spear light burst out like shooting stars, piercing towards young Master Heavenly Mantis. The spear glow and the saber glow collided once again, like stars exploding in the sky. Powerful gusts of wind struck the ground, leaving huge pits and ravines in the ground, as if the heavens and earth were about to be destroyed. Chapter 30-34. The destruction caused by the battle between Lu Ming and young master Heavenly Mantis was similar to the destruction caused by the battle between the two divine kings. Boom! Another violent explosion was heard as young master Heavenly Mantis's body retreated rapidly. A white mark appeared on his body. After a series of collisions, Lu Ming finally found an opportunity to stab young master Heavenly Mantis's body with his spear. What a thick carapace! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Just now, his spear had stabbed young master Heavenly Mantis, but it had not broken through the carapace. Ha ha ha! You can't break through my defense. Only I can kill you. Do you understand? Young master Heavenly Mantis laughed. His hind legs stomped on the void again, causing the void to explode. With a swoosh, he charged towards Lu Ming. As he charged forward, young master Heavenly Mantis stomped on the ground again, increasing his speed to the maximum. He appeared on Lu Ming's right side in an instant and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear swept out and blocked young master Heavenly Mantis's attack. However, young master Heavenly Mantis stomped on the ground again and appeared on the other side, launching another attack at Lu Ming. Young master Heavenly Mantis's rear legs stomped on the void, increasing his speed to an astonishing level. He constantly flashed around Lu Ming and launched attacks continuously. It was as if there were blade lights slashing at Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming's mind moved and the ice shackles wrapped around his body. Those blade lights clanged against the ice shackles, but they were ultimately blocked by the ice shackles. It seems like you can't break through my defense either, Lu Ming said faintly. Is that so? You think you can stop me? Break for me. Young master Heavenly Mantis roared as his front claws slashed at Lu Ming. The ice shackles vibrated and cracks appeared on it. However, it still managed to block young master Heavenly Mantis's attack. Young master Heavenly Mantis's strength was astonishing. His overall combat strength was definitely not below Jin Yuan's. However, in terms of the highest single attack, he was still slightly inferior to Jin Yuan's void-severing sword. However, young master Heavenly Mantis's speed and defense were stronger than gold ingots. His overall combat strength was even slightly stronger than gold ingots. It's my turn. Moonslayer, Moonslayer. Lu Ming shouted. His god power poured out like it was free as he continuously used moon severing. One after another, crescent-shaped spear lights slashed at young noble Heavenly Mantis. Boom. Finally, the two of them clashed once more. However, after Lu Ming's third strike of annihilation broke through to the 8th level, his strength had increased compared to the time when he fought with Jin Yuan. In a head-on clash, he was still superior to young master Heavenly Mantis. The sky rumbled as young master Heavenly Mantis's body trembled violently. Like a cannonball, he plummeted to the ground and smashed heavily. Boom! The ground rumbled and exploded continuously. A huge crater with a radius of tens of thousands of miles was formed. Cracks spread across hundreds of thousands of miles. This was still within Starry Crescent Ancient City. Everything in Starry Crescent Ancient City was tougher than the outside. If it was on a planet outside, the destructive power would be far greater than this. Roar! Seeing young noble Heavenly Mantis smashed to the ground, the two beasts roared furiously. They stepped on the void and pounced towards Lu Ming. The two beasts were very strong. Although they were not as strong as young noble Heavenly Mantis, they were comparable to people like Qin Wukong. Two beasts, you are courting death. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He struck 2 consecutive times with his spear. 2 crescent-shaped spear gleams slashed out. These 2 moves were almost Lu Ming's most powerful attacks. How could the 2 desolate beasts withstand them? They were split into 2 and died on the spot. Then, the beasts' corpses fell, pulling the war chariot and the dozen young men behind it to the ground. Steady! A young man roared. He circulated his remaining divine power and barely stabilized his body. Brat, you are courting death. I want you to die. The ground exploded and a figure rushed out. It was young noble Heavenly Mantis. Young noble Heavenly Mantis had transformed into a mantis. His expression could not be seen clearly, but his eyes were extremely cold. As he soared to the sky, his two front claws joined together. His body spun rapidly like a poisonous dragon and drilled towards Lu Ming. Wherever he passed, the void trembled violently. Lightning and flames were emitted. One could see how terrifying his power was. "He's going all out," Lu Ming muttered. Obviously, this was young noble Heavenly Mantis's strongest move. It was also a desperate move. "Bring it on." Lu Ming took a deep breath. The divine power in his body rushed madly toward his arm and then toward the long spear. Starburst! Lu Ming roared and thrust his long spear downwards. A huge spear light burst out and pierced towards young noble Heavenly Mantis. Boom! The moment the spear light collided with young noble Heavenly Mantis, it exploded. A terrifying destructive force rushed towards young noble Heavenly Mantis. Asterisk sizzle. Asterisk young noble Heavenly Mantis's poisonous dragon claws clashed with the destructive force continuously. A piercing sound was heard, but in the next moment, the speed of young noble Heavenly Mantis's rotation slowed down rapidly. "Damn it!" Young noble Heavenly Mantis roared in disbelief. His body was then sent flying by the destructive force. Once again, he fell towards the ground like a meteor. Boom! Young noble Heavenly Mantis fell to the ground for the second time. This time, the impact was even greater than the previous one. The ground crumbled continuously and endless gravel and dust were blasted out by the shock wave. Brother Lu Ming, such terrifying combat strength. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the rest swallowed their saliva when they saw this scene. They were dumbfounded. This level of strength was truly beyond their imagination. If they didn't experience it themselves, it would be hard for them to imagine that Lu Ming needed their help when they first entered Xingyue Ancient City a few years ago. Now, even the most powerful Wu Zixiong would be killed in seconds if he were to face Lu Ming. It's no wonder that Zifeng keeps praising Brother Lu Ming, saying that he's a rare genius and that he'll be famous in the Taishu Sacred Dynasty one day. Now, it seems that he's not exaggerating at all. Wu Yu sighed. Not only that, we've underestimated Brother Lu Ming. In my opinion, Brother Lu Ming's stage isn't just the Taishu Dynasty, Wu Zixiong said. The few of them sighed again and again. Lu Ming's attack did not stop at all. After he struck young noble Heavenly Mantis to the ground, Lu Ming swooped down like a bolt of lightning towards the place where young noble Heavenly Mantis fell. He wanted to kill young noble Heavenly Mantis in one go. Lu Ming's long spear pierced towards young noble Heavenly Mantis's glabella. Young noble Heavenly Mantis was lying on a pile of rocks, vomiting blood. When he saw Lu Ming coming, he quickly raised his two front claws to block in front of his glabella. Clang! Lu Ming's long spear pierced young noble Heavenly Mantis's front claws. It was as if it had pierced several divine weapons, producing a metallic sound. Chapter 30-35. Lu Ming stabbed the front claw of young Master Heavenly Mantis. Boom! A terrifying force burst out and rushed towards young Master Heavenly Mantis. The ground continued to shatter, especially the ground under young Master Heavenly Mantis's body, which continued to explode. Finally, there was a loud explosion. The rock under young Master Heavenly Mantis exploded and collapsed, revealing a dark hole that was a few hundred kilometers wide. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's body fell straight down. There's actually an underground space below? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. However, after pondering for a while, he did not hesitate and swooped down as well. There was a huge underground space under the ground. There were statues everywhere. Lu Ming glanced around and found that the statues were similar to the statues of various primitive gods. Each of them was very tall, and the shortest one was at least 1,000 meters tall. This underground space was like an underground palace. The ground was paved with black rocks. Young noble Heavenly Mantis smashed into the ground and issued a muffled explosion. The young noble spat out several mouthfuls of blood. His aura was somewhat weak, but the ground was completely fine. Not to mention an explosion, there wasn't even a single crack on the ground. This kind of ground was unimaginably hard. Lu Ming did not continue to attack. Instead, he looked around. There was nothing around except for the huge statues. It was quiet, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. Young Master Heavenly Mantis took the opportunity to get up and went into a defensive state. He looked at Lu Ming with caution. At this moment, his eyes were filled with fear. Lu Ming's strength was beyond his imagination. I didn't expect there to be such a place under the ground. It'll be your burial ground, Lu Ming said faintly, but his voice was filled with cold, killing intent. Kid, I admit that you're strong. However, you're dreaming if you want to kill me. He must be tired after the battle. Your divine power should be exhausted soon, right? Young Master Heavenly Mantis said. Lu Ming's strength was only slightly stronger than him. He must be dreaming if he wants to kill him. Is that so? The corner of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. He took a step forward, and his body suddenly rushed out. Then, he stabbed out with his spear. This spear was Starburst. Lu Ming directly used his strongest move. A spear light pierced towards Young Master Heavenly Mantis. This move again, Young Master Heavenly Mantis's pupils contracted rapidly as he retreated in an attempt to avoid the attack. Boom! However, the moment Young Master Heavenly Mantis retreated, the spear light exploded and turned into a destructive energy that rushed towards Young Master Heavenly Mantis. Young Master Heavenly Mantis let out a miserable shriek as his body was sent flying and smashed heavily into a statue. Boom! The statue didn't move at all. However, Young Master Heavenly Mantis coughed up several more mouthfuls of blood. His carapace had caved in and was on the verge of breaking. Damn it! Young Master Heavenly Mantis roared furiously. Before Lu Ming could make his move, he stomped on his hind leg and retreated rapidly. He retreated to a huge statue and then stomped on his hind leg again, moving from this statue to another statue. Just like that, Young Master Heavenly Mantis's body kept jumping from statue to statue at lightning speed. In this way, Lu Ming couldn't accurately pinpoint Young Master Heavenly Mantis's position. It was difficult for him to unleash the power of his attack. Ha ha ha, kid. Let's see how you're going to kill me. When I get out of here, I'll make sure that you die without a burial place. Bastard of 9 Extinction, Heavenly King Mansion. Young Master Heavenly Mantis laughed out loud. His voice was extremely ferocious. He, Young Master Heavenly Mantis, had a high status in Nine Sabers' Heavenly King Mansion. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? He must avenge himself. You're really naive to think that you can get out of here under such circumstances. Do you think that you can avoid my attack with such means? Inescapable net. Lu Ming sneered. Then, 9 ice chains flew out. The 9 ice chains rapidly lengthened, shuttling between the statues and intertwining with each other. The ice chains were a secret technique. As long as Lu Ming supported them with his divine force, they could lengthen continuously. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 9 ice chains shuttled between the statues, and even the sky was shrouded by them. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's face fell. His range of movement was greatly reduced. Kill. Lu Ming charged forward with his long spear. Young Master Heavenly Mantis quickly retreated and slashed at the ice chains. However, the ice chains only trembled a little, but did not break. The ice chains wriggled a little and tried to entangle Young Master Heavenly Mantis. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's face fell, and he quickly retreated. However, what welcomed him was a ray of spear light. Young Master Heavenly Mantis could only dodge quickly. Exploding star. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and blasted out another exploding star. Boom. This time, Young Master Heavenly Mantis was hit head-on. He screamed miserably as his body was blasted out and collided with a statue. This time, his injuries were more serious. Several cracks appeared on the carapace on his body. Blood flowed out continuously. His defense had been broken. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's eyes revealed deep fear. No, I can't die here. He can't use this ultimate move too many times. Young Master Heavenly Mantis roared in his heart. However, in the next moment, he felt even more despair. This was because Lu Ming stabbed his spear again. This time, it was the same exploding star. Young Master Heavenly Mantis screamed miserably again. His body was blasted away by the power of destruction. Blood splattered everywhere. This time, he was even more miserable. The carapace on his chest was completely shattered. A large piece of flesh was missing. One could even see the internal organs inside. Young Master Heavenly Mantis lay on the ground and vomited blood. He no longer had any strength to resist. "Let me send you on your way," Lu Ming said coldly. "No, you can't kill me. I am from the Heavenly Mantis clan of the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Mansion. If you kill me, do you want to cause a war between the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Mansion and the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Mansion?" Heavenly Mantis roared. "A war between the two Heavenly King Mansions? What does that have to do with me?" Lu Ming sneered. He strode forward. "No, if you kill me, the Heavenly Mantis clan will not let you off." Young Master Heavenly Mantis roared. "Hee, even if I kill you, who will know?" Lu Ming continued to sneer. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's face turned pale as he screamed, "No, don't, exploding star." Lu Ming could not be bothered with Young Master Heavenly Mantis and blasted out another exploding star. Puff. This time, the spear light directly pierced Young Master Heavenly Mantis's body and exploded. Young Master Heavenly Mantis's screams stopped abruptly because his body had exploded. His flesh and blood scattered everywhere, and his soul turned into ashes. Young Master Heavenly Mantis, a peerless sky pride who had awakened the divine force of origin, had fallen. Huff. After killing Young Master Heavenly Mantis, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master Heavenly Mantis was really hard to kill. His speed was fast, and his defense was shocking. Chapter 3036. Young Master Heavenly Mantis had almost no weakness. His attack power was extremely strong, his speed was fast, and his defense was amazing. Such a person had the ability to survive. If it was an open space outside, even with Lu Ming's current strength, he wouldn't be able to kill Young Master Heavenly Mantis. However, Young Master Heavenly Mantis was a little unlucky. There was an underground space filled with extremely hard statues. Lu Ming used the ice shackles to seal the surroundings, which interfered with Young Master Heavenly Mantis mobility. That was why Lu Ming seized the opportunity to kill him. Moreover, Lu Ming used the exploding stars technique continuously to kill Young Master Heavenly Mantis. It would be difficult to use other techniques to break through Young Master Heavenly Mantis's defense. Then, Lu Ming looked around. There was actually an underground space here, and it was very deep in the ground. Previously, Young Master Heavenly Mantis was continuously smashed into the ground and was bombarded by Lu Ming. He blasted through at least a few thousand miles of the ground before entering this underground space. In other words, this underground space had never been discovered by anyone. An undiscovered underground space could also be said to be an underground ruin. Could there be any treasures there? Lu Ming's eyes lit up slightly at the thought of this. Since he was already here, he might as well explore. However, right at this moment, veined patterns suddenly appeared on the ground. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed because he discovered that the blood spilled from Young Master Heavenly Mantis's death was actually absorbed by the ground. Then, a blood-red pattern appeared on the ground, covering the entire underground space. Even those statues had blood-red veined patterns on them. It was a large array. Lu Ming instantly determined that it was a large array that seemed to have been activated by Young Master Heavenly Mantis's blood. Not good. Lu Ming's countenance changed. He could not stay here for long. Just as he was about to soar into the sky and dash out of the gap, there was a violent roar from the ground. One of the pieces of ground suddenly protruded and blocked the gap. Boom, boom. Then, the entire underground space underwent a change. Some places protruded and some concave. The surrounding environment underwent a drastic change. Rumble. Furthermore, the tremors grew more and more intense. It was as if the entire earth was trembling violently. At this moment, a shocking scene was taking place outside as well. Thick runes suddenly appeared in the area where Lu Ming and Young Master Heavenly Mantis were fighting earlier. Countless runes were densely packed, intertwining and revolving around each other, emitting a bright glow that covered the territory within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. Furthermore, the range of the runes was still rapidly expanding. Soon, they covered an area of 100,000 miles. What's going on? Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the rest's faces turned ashen, retreating hastily. Afraid of being enveloped by the runes, they stood outside the range of the runes. A great formation. Why is there a great formation here that covers an area of 100,000 li? Not good. Brother Lu Ming is still inside. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others were startled. Let's go save Brother Lu Ming. Wu Zixiong gritted his teeth. All right. The others nodded and rushed toward the area covered by the formation. However, when they rushed into the area covered by the formation, they were blasted away by an invisible force. They could not get close to the formation's range. This is troublesome. Wu Ming and the others stopped outside the formation, their faces ugly. Lu Ming was inside the formation and they did not know how he was doing. Rumble. The tremors on the ground grew stronger and stronger. Endless runes intertwined, forming a mysterious formation that emitted dazzling light. Moreover, the light was getting brighter and brighter. Not long after, the endless light intertwined, forming an incomparably huge light pillar that soared into the sky and pierced through the firmament. Half the sky was dyed blood red. At this moment, everyone in the area noticed the abnormality even though they were far away. Some were flying, some were resting, and some were chatting. However, at this moment, their gazes were attracted to this side. What's that over there? Multicolored light filled the sky. It's so shocking. Could a rare treasure have appeared? Let's go take a look. Many people's eyes flickered as they rushed toward the light. Not long after, many people had gathered in the area where Lu Ming and young Master Heavenly Mantis were fighting. They were all sky prides who had gathered from all directions. However, these sky prides were blocked and stood outside the formation, watching from afar. However, these sky prides were obviously divided into two camps. One of them was the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence, and the other was the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence. As time passed, more and more people gathered there. A rare treasure has appeared. It must be the birth of a rare treasure. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a commotion. Many people's eyes were burning. A rare treasure has appeared. Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence. Get lost. Suddenly, someone shouted. Hee hee, what a joke. The one who should get lost is the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence. Immediately, the sky prides of the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence responded with a sneer. The 27 Heavenly King residences under the Taishu dynasty were in a competitive relationship. Many of them had conflicts and even grudges in order to compete for resources. The relationship between the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence and the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence was not harmonious. When they encountered each other, conflicts were inevitable. Then, all of you shall die. One of the sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence shouted coldly as he unsheathed his saber. A terrifying saber radiance slashed out violently. Poof! One of the sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence was killed when he was not paying attention. You're courting death. Kill these bastards for me. Suddenly, the sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence were enraged as they attacked the people from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence. Kill. The sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence were not to be outdone and began to counterattack. Most of the sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence practiced saber techniques. Rays of saber radiance slashed out violently. A chaotic battle broke out at the scene. Of course, not all of the sky prides joined in. Some of them did not join in and retreated to distance themselves from each other. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others also retreated to a distance. The battle between the sky prides was extremely intense. In an instant, some of them fell and their blood splattered across the sky. The battle became more and more intense and both sides suffered losses. Whoosh! Suddenly, a dazzling saber radiance shone in the crowd. The saber radiance was extremely dazzling as it pierced the nine heavens. The saber radiance was filled with an ancient aura. Several sky prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King residence were killed and split into two. It's the origin source divine power factor. It's the origin source divine power factor. The sky pride who has awakened the origin source divine power factor is attacking. Someone from the Nine Sabers, Heavenly King residents shouted in shock. In the face of such a person, ordinary sky prides were no match at all. Chapter 30-37. In the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion, there was a burly young man with horns on his back and a black war saber in his hand. Every time he slashed out with his saber, there would be a supreme talent from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion killed. No one was his match. Retreat! Retreat! Many people from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion were shocked and retreated. Kill! Kill! All of you from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion, die! The young man with horns on his back laughed wantonly. His saber radiance was shocking as he slashed out continuously. A few more people were killed by him. Boom! At this moment, a stone spear pierced through the void and let out a terrifying whistling sound as it charged towards the young man with horns on his back. The young man with horns on his back was shocked. He shouted as his war saber vibrated and slashed out forcefully. Clang! The war saber clashed with the stone spear, and there was a loud bang. Many people at the side retreated as they did not dare to get too close. As a terrifying force spread out, the young man with horns on his back shuddered and retreated a few steps. The stone spear flew out as a young man broke through the void and grabbed the stone spear in his hand. Suyin, it's Suyin. We're saved. The supreme talents from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion were overjoyed when they saw the young man. This young man was the one who was cultivating at the Myriad Deity Cliff, and Lu Ming had taken his place when the time limit was up. He was also an existence who had awakened the origin divine power factor. Suyin, it's you. The young man with horns on his back said coldly as his eyes were like lightning. Lu Ji, I'll be your opponent. Suyin said as he waved the stone spear in his hand, causing the sky to rumble. The Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion and Nine Sabers' Heavenly King mansion often competed with each other. Hence, some of the top supreme talents knew each other and had even fought with each other before. Very well, we haven't seen each other for many years. Suyin, I'd like to see how much you've improved. Lu Ji sneered as he took a step forward. His body turned into a saber radiance as he slashed towards Suyin. Suyin's stone spear vibrated as divine radiance pierced through the void and clashed with Lu Ji. Boom! Boom! The two of them engaged in an intense battle. Both of them were half-step divine kings. Moreover, they had awakened the divine origin divine force. The secret techniques they had mastered were also extremely terrifying. For a moment, it was hard to tell who was the winner. The two of them fought a great battle. No one dared to stand within a radius of several tens of thousands of li. The energy that flowed in all directions was too terrifying, making people feel apprehensive. Such strength had already surpassed some of the weaker god kings. For example, even the Dark Knight Demon King probably did not have such battle prowess. If one got too close and was hit by the scattered energy, only death would await them. However, there were exceptions. A young man in a golden robe strolled through the void and approached the place where Suyin and Lu Ji were fighting. He stopped within a few hundred miles of the battlefield. His body emitted a dazzling golden radiance. An ancient and desolate aura blocked the force of the outside. It's Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan is here too. On the Nine Absolute Heavenly King Manor side, many people were overjoyed. On the Nine Absolute Heavenly King Manor side, another top heavens chosen came. Jin Yuan was previously injured by Lu Ming. After a period of time, his injuries had already healed and he was showing off his abilities. Jin Yuan, I wonder what realm your void-shattering hand has reached. Do you want to spar with me? A faint voice was heard. From another direction, a young man in a gray robe with a battle saber on his back walked through the air. A terrifying aura shrouded Jin Yuan. Jin Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. This was also a heaven's chosen who had awakened the divine origin divine force. Leave him to me. The void-shattering hand is said to be able to shatter the void. I have long wanted to experience it. However, at this moment, another voice was heard. Then, another young man appeared. This young man was undoubtedly an expert from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King manor. He was tall and sturdy, wearing a golden armor and holding a long spear in his hand. In the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King manor, most people use sabers as their weapons. However, there were exceptions. Not everyone used sabers. For example, this person used a spear. This person held a long spear in his hand, and his battle intent was soaring. He was like a god of war. Overlord Spear, Chu-Baxing. Jin Yuan squinted his eyes slightly. That's me. Come, let my Overlord Spear have a taste of your void-shattering hand. The young man in golden armor was called Chu-Baxing. He was very domineering and his aura was surging. He took a step forward and charged towards Jin Yuan. Buzz. The long spear vibrated, and a huge golden spear radiance pressed down on Jin Yuan. Humph, another one with a spear. Break. Void-shattering hand. Jin Yuan shouted. His palm turned into a pure gold color as he struck out with it. In the sky, the two golden radiances collided and exploded with an earth-shattering boom. The terrifying impact turned into rings of golden ripples that spread out in all directions. The two figures trembled and then continued to fight. Boom, boom. The crowd could only see the two golden radiances colliding in the void at an astonishing speed. The void was constantly exploding and the shockwaves bombarded the ground, creating terrifying craters. However, whenever the shockwaves blasted towards the rune-filled ground, they would be blocked by an invisible force. Only two decent people from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion came. Is there anyone who can be my opponent? The young man in gray robes with a saber on his back said coldly as he looked towards the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. Many people's faces changed. This person was obviously a Sky Pride of the same level as Jin Yuan and Su Yan. Other than Sky Prides of the same level, who else could be his opponent? If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. A cold voice resounded, and then a violent aura suffused the heavens and the earth. After that, a robust young man appeared. The young man was wearing a beast skin coat. He was burly and had a ferocious look in his eyes. He looked like a wild beast. It's him. The eyes of many people from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion lit up. This young man was also a peerless Sky Pride. When he entered the Starry Crescent ancient city, he had passed through the gate of heaven. He was also someone who had awakened the origin source divine force factor. Interesting. Looks like there are quite a number of Sky Prides from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion here. The young man in gray robes with a saber on his back sneered. The saber on his back buzzed as if it was about to be unsheathed. Before the saber was unsheathed, a terrifying saber light broke through the sky and pierced through the clouds. It's really lively today. Indeed, it's very lively. Then, another two voices were heard. Two rays of light appeared from different directions and flew towards the area where Jin Yuan and the others were fighting. Another two young men revealed themselves and unleashed powerful auras. Someone from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion recognized one of them as a Sky Pride from the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. When they entered the Starry Crescent ancient city, there were a total of 4 people from the Starry Crescent camp who had passed through the gate of heaven and awakened the origin source divine force factor. Now, all 4 of them were present. However, there were also 4 geniuses of the same level on the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion side. Both sides confronted each other and sparks were ignited. Chapter 30-38. Many people continuously retreated, retreating far enough to look ahead. Could it be that the 8 peerless prodigies from both sides were going to engage in a battle royale? That was a rare sight. Some people even widened their eyes and watched carefully, hoping to get some inspiration from it. One had to know that Su Yin and the others had awakened their origin divine power. Watching them fight and sensing the aura of their origin divine power would indeed give them some inspiration. Su Yin and Lu Ji, Jin Yuan and Chu-Baxing were still fighting fiercely. Boom. At this moment, the 2 incomparably resplendent golden lights collided once again. Then, the golden lights exploded, and the 2 figures continuously retreated. It was Chu-Baxing and Jin Yuan. However, Chu-Baxing retreated a shorter distance, while Jian Yuan retreated further. So that's all there is to the void-severing Tao, Chu Baxing said indifferently. His body was also covered in golden light, and his spear was buzzing with battle intent. Jian Yuan's expression was a little ugly. He was actually at a disadvantage in the battle just now. He was being suppressed by Chu Baxing. Damn it, how is this possible? My Jin family's void-severing Tao is invincible. How can I be suppressed? Jian Yuan roared in his heart. First, he lost to Lu Ming and fled in a sorry state. He didn't even care about Jin Xing's life. Now, he was being suppressed by Chu Baxing. This made Jian Yuan's expression turn ugly. He even began to doubt the Jin family's void-severing Tao. No, my Jin family's void-severing Tao is the strongest. Jian Yuan roared in his heart. His aura became even more violent. There were 9 golden swords around him. At that moment, the 9 golden swords merged into one and fused into Jian Yuan's body. His body began to change, turning into a golden battle sword. Jian Yuan was going all out. He was going to use his strongest move. The attack power of this move was shocking. Previously, he had used this move to break Lu Ming's ice shackles. Die! Jian Yuan roared. His body turned into a golden sword light and slashed at Chu Baxing. Facing this move, Chu Baxing's expression became serious. He didn't dare to be careless. His body also emitted a dazzling golden light. Strike of the war god! Chu Baxing roared and stabbed out with his spear. A dazzling ray of light shot out from the long spear. Then, a huge figure appeared out of thin air. It was a golden god of war. It was extremely huge, tens of thousands of feet tall. It held a huge spear in its hand. It stabbed out with astonishing speed towards Jian Yuan and collided with the sword light that Jian Yuan had transformed into. Boom! Terrifying whistling sounds could be heard from the void. Strong chi gushed out like a huge wave. The huge golden armored war god trembled violently. Then, cracking sounds could be heard as cracks appeared on its surface. In the end, starting from the long spear, it exploded inch by inch. In the blink of an eye, the entire golden-armored true god collapsed. Chu Baxing's body trembled as he staggered back several steps. However, Jian Yuan did not have it easy either. The sword he had transformed into was sent flying tens of thousands of meters away. He returned to his human form. His face was pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Interesting. This move is more like it. Chu Baxing licked his lips and sneered. Jian Yuan snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He had been at a disadvantage in the confrontation just now. Even his strongest move could not do anything to Chu Baxing. This was a huge blow to him. That Chu Baxing is so strong. Many people looked at Chu Baxing with grave eyes, including the young man in beast skin. I heard that Chu Baxing's family is the clan of war gods. When the Taishu dynasty was first established, his ancestor was a true god of war. His battle prowess was unparalleled. I've heard of it too. However, the younger generation didn't live up to expectations. There was a lack of talent, so they slowly declined. Now, they can only stay in the residence of the Nine Sabers' heavenly king. A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Many people discussed in low voices as they looked at Chu Baxing with grave eyes. Rumble. At that moment, the ground shook violently. It felt as if the sky was falling. Look, what's that? Suddenly, someone pointed at the center of the formation and shouted. Everyone looked over, and then many people's eyes suddenly widened. That was because the ground in that area cracked open, and then a huge object rushed out. It was an incomparably huge castle, emitting a dark radiance. At first, only the tip of the castle was revealed, but gradually, more and more parts rushed out, and also became bigger and bigger. Many people were tongue-tied. They did not expect that there would be a castle underground. Earlier, the runes filled the air and the light soared into the sky. This was a sign that the castle was about to appear. Rumble. The ground shook more and more violently, and the rocks on the ground exploded. A moment later, a huge castle appeared in front of everyone. This was a castle that was 100,000 miles long and wide. It was pitch black, and no one could tell what material it was made of. From afar, it looked like an ancient divine mountain. Around the castle, there was actually a circle of peach trees, surrounding the castle in the middle. Each peach tree was so thick that it would take several people to wrap their arms around it. They were full of peach blossoms, and it was a scene of vitality. When the castle appeared, the runes on the ground also disappeared. Many people's eyes revealed a fiery light. A castle appeared from the ground. It was obvious that no one had ever explored this place before. Could there be treasures inside this castle? The battle between Su Yin and Lu Ji also stopped. Everyone's attention was attracted by the castle. It's a castle. Let's go and take a look. Be careful. Following that, some people began to approach the castle and fly towards it. However, when they got close to the castle, they were blocked by an invisible energy, and they could not enter at all. We still can't enter? Some people were greatly disappointed. The runes had disappeared, but they still could not enter. They could only watch helplessly. No, we can enter from this peach forest on foot. Suddenly, someone shouted. That was because someone had tried it earlier. He landed on the ground and rushed towards the peach forest on foot. His figure disappeared into the peach forest. Let's go. Following that, another person rushed into the peach forest. After a few flashes, that person's figure disappeared into the peach forest without a trace. There doesn't seem to be any danger. Let's go too. Immediately, more people rushed into the peach forest. Even Jin Yuan, Su Yin, and the others were tempted. They all moved and charged into the peach forest. Soon, everyone disappeared into the peach forest. The area quieted down. However, about half an hour later, a few youths appeared at the edge of the peach forest with confused faces. Chapter 30-39. A few youths appeared at the edge of the peach forest with confused looks on their faces. Why are we out again? What's going on? The youths walked out of the peach forest with puzzled looks on their faces. Following that, more and more people appeared at the edge of the peach forest with puzzled looks on their faces. Not long after, Su Yin, Jin Yuan, Chu Baxing, and the other top prodigies also appeared at the edge of the peach forest. What's going on with you all? Why are you all out? Someone asked. I don't know. I got lost as soon as I entered the peach forest. There's only peach trees in all directions, and no matter how I turned, I couldn't get out. Eventually, I ended up back here. Me too. You're in the same situation as me. The crowd discussed fervently, and they realized that they were in the same situation. Everyone got lost as soon as they entered the peach forest, but they didn't meet anyone else. No matter how they walked, they couldn't get out of the peach forest. In the end, they ended up back where they started. A formation. In the end, they came to the conclusion that the peach forest was a formation that could confuse one's mind. As soon as one walked in, they would be confused and end up back where they started. Let's try from another direction. Someone walked along the perimeter, wanting to try from another direction. However, the castle was surrounded by peach trees. Entering the peach forest from another direction was the same as before, and they ended up back where they started. Every direction had been tested, and the results were all the same. If we can't get in, we'll just have to destroy the formation. Some people were very domineering and directly attacked. One after another, attacks blasted towards the peach forest, wanting to destroy it. As long as the peach forest was destroyed, the formation would break. However, their attacks didn't cause any ripples in the peach forest. The attacks flew into the peach forest and disappeared. Not even a single peach blossom was cut down. Even Jin Yuan, Chu Baxing, and the others tried, but the results were the same. The crowd was helpless. They were high up in the sky, so they could see through the peach forest and see what was going on inside. In fact, they could even see a small path leading to the castle behind the peach forest, and they could even see the gate of the castle. However, they could see it, but they couldn't enter. If they flew into the sky, they would be stopped by an invisible force. If they went underground, they would be stopped by the peach forest formation. They could only see it, but they couldn't enter? What's that? Suddenly, a young man who was observing from high up in the sky exclaimed in shock. What's the situation? Let's go take a look. Immediately, many people rose into the air and flew high into the sky to look inside the castle. At first glance, They were dumbfounded. The reason for that was because they saw a person walking out from one of the castle's gates. After a young man walked out of the door, he glanced left and right, as if he was sizing up his surroundings. How could someone walk out of the castle? Could it be that this person has been living in the castle all this time? Is he someone who has lived since the beginning of the Heavenly Palace era? Someone spoke with a hoarse voice. Many people's expressions changed drastically. How many years had it been since the beginning of the Heavenly Palace era? It was simply impossible to calculate. Even if one were to use stellar years to calculate, it would still be difficult to calculate. It was an extremely long period of time. A divine king could only live for 5 stellar years at most. If someone could live from the early days of the Heavenly Palace to the present, what kind of cultivation would that be? Wait, why does this person look so familiar? Lu Ming. He's Lu Ming. Suddenly, someone from the 9 extinction, Heavenly King Mansion shouted. That's right, it's Lu Ming. It's really him. More people from the 9 extinction, Heavenly King Mansion shouted. What? He's a Sky Pride from the 9 extinction, Heavenly King Mansion? This time, the people from the 9 Sabers Heavenly King Mansion were also shocked. But then, they let out a sigh of relief. It turned out that he was just a Sky Pride from the 9 extinction Heavenly King Mansion, and not an old monster who had survived from the early days of the Heavenly Palace era. That was good. But how did he get in? Many people had more questions in their minds. The person that everyone saw was indeed Lu Ming. After he killed young Master Heavenly Mantis, the ground shook violently, and the sky and earth shook. His position seemed to be rising, and it took a while before it stabilized. After it stabilized, Lu Ming spent some effort to find the exit and walked out of the gate. It's actually a castle? Lu Ming sized it up and was secretly surprised. He did not expect that what emerged from the ground was a castle. There are so many people. Then, Lu Ming looked outside and saw that there were many people outside. These people were staring at him. Could it be that these people were attracted by the castle? That's possible. I wonder how Wu Ming and Wu Yu are doing. Let's go out and have a look. Lu Ming's mind raced. He then soared into the air and flew outside. There was no obstruction at all. He directly passed through the range of the peach forest and flew out. There was no power to stop him. He's out. Many people's eyes moved, and they stared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked around, trying to find Wu Ming and the others. Suddenly, a powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming. Then, a young man in golden armor stepped out and appeared in front of Lu Ming. His divine power surged like a gust of wind and swept towards Lu Ming. The young man in golden armor was Chu Baxing. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He circulated his divine power and blocked the pressure. Kid, how did you get in? What did you get in there? Tell me everything. Chu Baxing said in a commanding tone. Who are you? Make way. Lu Ming glanced at Chu Baxing and waved his hand casually. Then, he looked in another direction and ignored Chu Baxing. This kid is finished. Many people's hearts skipped a beat. How dare Lu Ming talk to Chu Baxing like that? Was he courting death? After all, only a few people saw the battle between Lu Ming and Jin Yuan. Many people did not know about it, especially those from the 9 Sabers Heavenly King residence. They looked at Lu Ming with pity, as if they were looking at a dead man. Chu Baxing was famous for his domineering personality. Lu Ming's actions were undoubtedly suicidal. Who am I? Ha ha ha. Sure enough, Chu Baxing laughed coldly. His laughter was filled with cold, killing intent. You'll know who I am very soon, because I'll be your nightmare for the rest of your life. Chu Baxing said again. Then, he took a step forward and clawed at Lu Ming. A huge claw formed, and its 5 fingers were like 5 spears. It grabbed at Lu Ming. This move was extremely vicious. If an ordinary person was caught in it, their cultivation would definitely be crippled. However, Lu Ming was no ordinary person. Boom! Lu Ming made his move. A 9-clawed dragon appeared and clawed at Chu Baxing's claw. With a loud boom, Chu Baxing's claw exploded. Chapter 30-40. Lu Ming activated the Divine Dragon Aspect Art, and a 9-clawed dragon flew out, destroying Chu Baxing's claw. What? He blocked it? Many people were stunned. They didn't expect Lu Ming to be able to block Chu Baxing's attack. Lu Ming is strong, but Chu Baxing didn't use much strength in that attack. It was just a casual attack. Indeed, if Chu Baxing was serious, how could this kid block it? Many people were discussing, especially those from the Nine Sabers' Heavenly King residence. They could see that Lu Ming was only a fifth-layer celestial god. How could he block Chu Baxing's attack? Chu Baxing definitely didn't use much strength. Of course, those who had seen Lu Ming and Jin Yuan's battle didn't think so. They knew how terrifying Lu Ming was. Jin Yuan's eyes flickered with anticipation. He was looking forward to the battle between Lu Ming and Chu Baxing. It would be best if both of them were injured. He wanted to get rid of both of them. HM? Even Chu Baxing himself was taken aback for a moment before he replied with a soft nod of acknowledgement. He knew very well how powerful that move was. Indeed, he didn't use much strength in that move. However, an ordinary 9th-level heavenly god wouldn't be able to block that move. Their cultivation would be crippled in an instant. However, Lu Ming was able to block it with just a 5th-layer celestial god. This surprised him. Not bad. You have some strength. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, you're still too inexperienced to be arrogant in front of me. Chu Baxing said coldly. His aura erupted like a volcano, and an ancient aura filled the air, pressing down on Lu Ming. Quintessence God Force Factor. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He knew that he had encountered a peerless expert. Unless one released their aura, it would be difficult to tell that Chu Baxing was a prodigy who had awakened the divine power of origin. Indeed, Lu Ming couldn't tell that Chu Baxing was a prodigy who had awakened the divine power of origin. However, even if Lu Ming had known, his attitude wouldn't have changed. Kneel. Chu Baxing roared as he sent out another palm strike. This move was exactly the same as the previous one. A huge palm grabbed at Lu Ming. However, the aura that it emanated was completely different from the previous move. It was much stronger than the previous move. Even a half-step Divine King Realm genius would be severely injured and suppressed by this attack. Boom. Lu Ming immediately activated the battle formula, quadrupling his combat power as he punched out continuously. Roar, roar, roar. A series of dragon roars rang out as 9 clawed dragons appeared and pounced on Chu Baxing's palm. Explosions rang out as the 9 clawed dragons exploded one after another. In the end, Chu Baxing's palm was also destroyed. What? Many people were shocked. Lu Ming had actually blocked it again. Chu Baxing's previous move was no small matter. Everyone could feel its power. Many half-step Divine King geniuses felt that they might not be able to block it even if they gave it their all. However, Lu Ming, a level 5 heavenly god, had blocked it. This kid is so strong. Many people were shocked, especially Chu Baxing. While he was shocked, his body emitted a cold, murderous intent. He, Chu Baxing, was a peerless genius who had awakened his origin divine force. He was the descendant of the war god. Yet, he couldn't take down Lu Ming in 2 consecutive moves. His eyes darkened as a golden spear appeared in his hand. He was going to be serious. He was going to kill Lu Ming with powerful means. Lu Ming, brother Lu, it's great that you're fine. At this moment, a few voices could be heard. It was Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and a few others. They were at the periphery and only noticed Lu Ming when they heard the commotion. They quickly flew over. Wu Ming, Wu Yu, stand further away. There's a small matter here. I'll tell you the details after I'm done here. Lu Ming said to Wu Ming, Wu Yu, and the others. Many people were speechless. How arrogant of him to say that it was a small matter in front of a genius like Chu Baxing. Hee hee. Chu Baxing was so angry that he sneered. Hee hee. It's really lively here. Looks like we're not too late. At this moment, a few cold voices could be heard from afar. This voice was erratic, but it was extremely cold, causing people to feel a chill in their hearts. Then, a few black lights could be seen flying over at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, a few figures appeared not far away. One could tell that they were a few young men, but their figures were extremely strange. Their figures were shrouded in a black, ghostly chi. Their bodies seemed to be constantly twisting as if they were illusory. An ice-cold aura was continuously emitted from their bodies. "You're from the Juyo Heavenly Lord residence?" Someone's expression changed drastically. Looks like you've recognized us." One of the young men with ghostly chi sneered. Many people's expressions changed drastically. The Juyo Heavenly Lord residence was one of the 27 Heavenly Lord residences of the Taishu dynasty. Legend had it that before the Taishu dynasty was established, there was a sect called the Juyo sect. Its strength was amazing, and it occupied many starfields. Later, when the Taishu dynasty rose and swept across the universe, the Juyo sect surrendered when they saw that they were no match for them. After the Taishu dynasty was established, the Juyo sect was named one of the 27 Heavenly Lord residences and still ruled the territory of the Juyo sect. Therefore, the people of the Juyo Heavenly Lord residence practiced the cultivation techniques of the Juyo sect. They were extremely evil and terrifying. I finally found them. Juyo Heavenly Lord residence and Nine Sabers Heavenly Lord residence. So many geniuses and powerful souls. Good. One of the figures laughed. Suddenly, his body flashed and pounced on the few young men closest to him. Those young men were shocked. They shouted angrily and attacked with all their might. However, the young man from the Juyo Heavenly Lord residence did not dodge. It was as if he did not see those attacks. However, something strange happened. When those attacks landed on his body twisted strangely and flickered like a ghost, causing all those attacks to hit nothing. Then, the young man from the Juyo Heavenly Lord residence landed in front of those young men and clawed out. A few ghostly claws appeared and grabbed those young men. Arg! The young men let out miserable shrieks as their souls were pulled out and held in the hands of the other party. Then, the young man from the Juyo Heavenly Lord residence opened his mouth and swallowed the souls of those young men. Those young men's screams stopped abruptly. Such a strange scene made many people gasp in shock. The other party was actually capable of grabbing another person's soul and swallowing it in a single gulp. It was truly too bizarre. Chapter 3041. Awesome. The soul of a genius is indeed different. The taste is too good, The young man from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion laughed excitedly. Is that so? My turn. The other Sky Pride from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion looked expectant as he pounced on the other young men. The young men were shocked and quickly retreated in an attempt to avoid the attack. However, the Sky Pride from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion was extremely fast. In a flash, he was already in front of the young men and launched an attack. The young men's fate was the same as the other young men before him. Their souls were extracted and devoured by the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion's young man. Awesome. It's indeed awesome. It's much better than those ordinary souls. The young man from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion looked intoxicated as he scanned the crowd with his cold eyes. It was as if he was treating the Sky Prides present as prey that he could kill at will. The Sky Prides from the Nine Sabers Heavenly King's mansion and Nine Extinction Heavenly King's mansion turned pale as they retreated. They did not even look at the young man from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion. You all are courting death. Suddenly, a furious roar could be heard. The person who spoke was Chubaxing. Two of the young men who had been killed by the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion were Chubaxing's family members. At this moment, the golden radiance on his body became denser as a violent aura emanated from him. Initially, he had wanted to deal with Lu Ming. However, the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion had killed two of his family members as soon as they arrived. This infuriated him, and he turned his attention to the Sky Prides from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion. Kid, I'll kill those brats first before I deal with you. Chubaxing glared at Lu Ming coldly before he turned into a streak of golden light and charged towards one of the Sky Prides from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion. Before he even arrived, a dazzling spear light had already pierced towards the Sky Prides. Finally, an interesting one. The Sky Prides from the Nine Nether Heavenly King's mansion chuckled as his body twisted even more. Ghostly chi filled the air as a pitch-black ghostly claw formed and grabbed at Chubaxing. The ghostly claw was filled with an ancient aura. There was no doubt that the prodigy from the Nine Nether Heavenly King Mansion was also someone who had awakened the divine power origin. In fact, there were a total of 3 youths from the Abyss Heavenly King Mansion. All of them had awakened their divine origin power and were among the strongest geniuses in the Abyss Heavenly King Mansion. Therefore, they were the first to arrive. Boom! The resplendent spear aura collided with the ghost claw, causing a violent explosion. The ghost claw trembled violently before collapsing. However, it turned into a strange energy that followed Chu Baxing's spear and headed straight for him. Chu Baxing's expression changed, and he roared. Golden light burst forth from his body, and he finally managed to push the strange energy away. A heaven's pride that has awakened the origin source divine force. I believe your soul must be very delicious. He. Then I, Yuhan, will be taking your soul. The chosen from the High Hell's Heavenly King's Mansion let out a cold cry as he charged toward Chu Baxing. Ghostly chi surged from Yuhan's body as she charged forward. Like a black fog, it enveloped Chu Baxing. Within the ghost chi, one could hear the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. The sound was so eerie that it made one's heart race and soul tremble. It was as if one's soul was about to jump out of their body. This attack can affect one's soul. Retreat. Many people's faces changed as they retreated, putting as much distance as they could between themselves and Yuhan. Chu Baxing was clearly affected, and the golden light around his body trembled. Abyss Ghost Claw. Yuhan roared, and a cold ghostly claw swiped at Chu Baxing, trying to grab his soul. Strike of the War God. Chu Baxing roared as he thrust his spear forward. Suddenly, a humongous god of war appeared in the sky, thrusting his spear at Yuhan. Boom! The war god's spear struck the ghostly claw, causing it to disintegrate into mist that filled the sky. Interesting. You're from the war god clan. Your soul must be even more delicious. Abyss Prison. Yuhan shrieked. His body turned into a ghostly shadow and fused into the black mist. The black mist spread, enveloping Chu Baxing and the war god. You want to deal with me with your unorthodox methods? Dream on. Die. Die. Chu Baxing roared as the war god swept his spear forward, trying to disperse the black mist. However, the black mist was impossible to disperse, and once it was dispersed, it would gather back together. Furthermore, the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves could be heard from within the black mist, affecting Chu Baxing's soul. The two of them clashed within the black mist, and Chu Baxing was at a disadvantage. The attacks of the High Hell's Heavenly King's Mansion are strange. They can affect one's soul directly. It's similar to Shaman Shui. Looming thought. Shaman Shui and his fellow disciples' attacks could affect one's soul too. The only difference was that Shaman Shui and his fellow disciples used poison gas. On the other hand, the people from the High Hell's Heavenly King's Mansion were using some unknown method. Boom, boom. A violent collision occurred within the black mist. Not long after, the war god that Chu Baxing had created exploded, and Chu Baxing was forced to retreat until he was out of the range of the black mist. His body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Chu Baxing was injured. Many people were shocked. They knew how powerful Chu Baxing was. He had the upper hand against Jin Yuan, and even Jin Yuan was no match for him. But now, he was being beaten to the point of spitting blood by Yuhan. How could Yuhan be so strong? The descendant of the war god is only SOSL. He. Die. Yuhan's figure flashed, and he pounced on Chu Baxing. Brother Chu, I'll help you, Lu Ji said. Then, he unsheathed his saber, and a resplendent saber ray slashed at Yuhan. Wherever the saber ray passed, the black mist formed by Yuhan would churn, but it would quickly gather back together. Die! Chu Baxing caught his breath and charged at Yuhan once more. His spear ray was larger than a mountain, and it seemed like it would pierce through the void. Boom! Boom! Chu Baxing and Lu Ji's joint attack was too terrifying. Explosions occurred in the void, and a powerful shockwave was formed. The black mist formed by Yuhan could no longer withstand the attack, and it was dispersed. Yuhan's figure appeared not far away in a flash. 2 against 1? Are you trying to bully me? I'll accompany you in this battle. Another youth from the High Hell's Heavenly King's mansion stepped out, exuding a powerful aura. There's no need for that. Just watch from the side. I alone am enough to deal with the two of them. Yuhan waved his hand and stopped the prodigy from the High Hell's Heavenly King's mansion. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.